He went home and rebuilt the whole house, ripped out the old kitchen top and put in a new lower one. Even managed to find a specially made cooker, reconstructed the door frames, and fitted ramps over all the thresholds. The day after Sonia was allowed to leave the hospital, she went back to her teacher training. In the spring, she set her examination. There was an advertisement in the newspaper for a teaching position in a school with the worst reputation in town, with the sort of class that no qualified teacher with all the parts of her brain correctly screwed together would voluntarily face. It was attention deficit hyperactivity disorder before attention deficit hyperactivity disorder had been invented. There's no hope for these boys and girls, the headmaster soberly explained in the interview. This is not education, this is storage. Maybe Sonia understood how it felt to be described as such. The vacant position only attracted one applicant, and she got those boys and girls to read Shakespeare. In the meantime, Ove was so weighed down with anger that Sonia sometimes had to ask him to go outside so he didn't demolish the furniture. It pained her definitely to see his shoulders so loaded down with the will to destroy that coach driver, the travel agency, the crash barrier of that motorway, the wine producer, everything and everyone. Punch and keep punching until every bastard had been obliterated. That was all he wanted to do. He put that anger in his shed. He put it in the garage. He spread it over the ground during his inspection rounds. But that wasn't all. In the end, he also started putting it in letters. He wrote to the Spanish government, to the Swedish authorities, to the police, to the court, but no one took responsibility. No one cared. They answered by reference to legal text or other authorities, made excuses. When the council refused to build a ramp at the stairs of the school where Sonia worked, Ove wrote letters and complaints for months. He wrote letters to newspapers. He tried to sue them. He literally inundated them with the unfathomable vengefulness of a father who had been robbed. But everywhere, sooner or later, he was stopped by men in white shirts and strict, smug expressions on their faces, and one couldn't fight them. Not only did they have the state on their side, they were the state. The last complaint was rejected. The fighting was over because the white shirts had decided so, and Ove never forgave them that. Sonia saw everything. She understood where he was hurting. So she let him be angry, let all that anger find its outlet somewhere, in some way. But no one, on one of those early summer's evening in May, that always come along, bearing gentle promises about the summer ahead, she rolled up to him, and wheels leaving soft marks on the parquet floor. He was sitting at the kitchen table writing one of his letters, and she took his pen away from him, slipped her hand into his, and pressed her finger into his rough palm, leaned her forehead tenderly against his chest. That's enough now, Ove. No more letters. There's no space for life with all these letters of yours. And she looked up, softly caressed his cheek and smiled. It's enough now, my darling Ove. And then it was enough. The next morning, Ove got up at dawn, drove the Saab to her school, and with his own bare hands built a disabled ramp the council was refusing to put up. And after that, she came home every evening for as long as Ove could remember and told him, with fire in her eyes, about her boys and girls, the ones who arrived in the classroom with police escorts, yet when they left could recite 400 years old poetry. The ones who could make her cry and laugh and sing until her voice was bouncing off the ceilings of their little house. Ove could never make head nor tail of those impossible kids, but he was not beyond liking them for what they did to Sonia. Every human being needs to know what she's fighting for. That was what they said. And she fought for what was good, for the children she never had. And Ove fought for her, because that was the only thing in this world he really knew.